3, 2, 1.
Hi, in this video of practical tips for rocket engineering, we're going to be looking at some of the control measures that we have around our test facility to ensure that we have a safe environment to operate in. One of the things that you might want to consider and think about installing in and around your facility is the ability to monitor different types of gases. Here at our facility, because we focus primarily on hybrid propellant rocket engines, we've decided to install oxygen depletion and enrichment sensors, carbon monoxide sensors, seeing that these are roughly about head height. And then down here we have a flammable gases sensors. Flammable gases are heavier and more dense than air, so they tend to sink down, and so that's why you want a sensor down low, whilst the carbon monoxide and oxygen sensors will mix in with the environment around, and so you want to be able to know what those levels are specifically and in and around the areas that most people will work and operate at. So obviously carbon monoxide gas is very bad and we want to limit the amount of concentrations that we're subjected to. But specifically I want to talk about oxygen enrichment and depletion. So when dealing with rocket propulsion systems with oxygen, you might find yourself, if you perhaps have a leak in the system, in an environment where oxygen gas has built up. This is what we call an oxygen-enriched environment. And you've got to be very careful in these environments because any sort of flames or sources of ignition may cause a deflagration event, especially if there's been a large buildup of oxygen in the area. We also have an oxygen depletion sensor in the same manifold here. And what we're detecting is if the oxygen levels have been displaced by other gases. Oxygen depleted environments are very dangerous. And if you walk into an oxygen depleted environment, you'll be impacted by the lack of oxygen extremely quickly, and usually a lot quicker than you might think. It only takes a single breath or two to start interfering with your mental and bodily functions. So it is an environment that we definitely do not want to be in. So here in the test facility we manage, we have both sensors outside of the test cell, where we've got some of the propellant feed lines and feed systems around, but also we've got equivalent sensors inside the test cell as well. We've had to take extra precautions because we are test firing in a semi-enclosed environment. But some of these precautions you may want to think about for your test environment, because if you are firing in, let's say, an open field, okay, or an open air, then some of these stringent requirements may be laxed a little. But please do the health and safety and the risk assessment on your site specifically, okay, and do talk to professionals about getting the right advice, okay. This is a very serious consideration, okay, and don't overlook it. One of the other things that we are doing here at the test facility that I manage is looking at noise levels, okay. If you are operating in an environment where you may have to consider your neighbours specifically, okay, you might want to think about the noise pollution your rocket engines create. So in this case we have a noise sensor here which will detect the levels of noise, record the levels of noise, and if it goes over a particular level it will actually shut down the test firing. So these additional capabilities are on top of your usual safety systems, which may include your fire doors, your fire alarms, fire extinguishers, and fire suppression systems as well.